Hey guys, welcome back to Shep Talk and welcome to my review of Fighter. Now this is usually where I go in and say it was directed by, it was written by, it was starring, but this is an Indian movie. And if you've been with me for a while, you know that Shep has skill issues with pronouncing names. So I am not going to really say the name on here. I am going to put up the picture like I usually do, and I am going to have their name at the bottom, and so that way you can see it there. Now if I call them back, I will call them by their character name, especially the actors, because they are more English centric, I guess you could say, so that way it'll make it easier for me. But all right, let's dive into Fighter. Fighter has a runtime of 2 hours and 46 minutes. Quick synopsis. To fight the rising threat to India, the Indian Air Force forms the Air Dragon, comprising the best fighters India has to offer. Now, first and foremost, I'm going to say I've never seen a Bollywood movie, at least not from start to finish. I have definitely seen clips of Bollywood movies, so I kind of knew what to expect. I think almost everybody generally knows how Bollywood movies go. But then I saw the trailer for Fighter, and I knew I really wanted to see this movie. It gave me Top Gun vibes, and I really enjoy Top Gun. So I knew I was going to do my best to see this movie. And I knew one of my local theaters here shows a lot of Bollywood movies. So I was very happy to see when Fighter was on their list. So I went, I bought my ticket, and here we are. And as I stated, this movie, at least the trailers, did give you a Top Gun vibe. I am not going to lie. And there are certain scenes in Fighter that are blatant callbacks to Top Gun, or at least homages to Top Gun as we know it. And it's not a bad thing in this movie that India has taken Top Gun or any really fighter jet movies and made this one definitely an Indian fighter jet movie. But enough of me trying to compare Fighter to Top Gun. Let's dive into what I really thought about this movie. First and foremost, you're going to a movie like Fighter not because of the story or the actors, or maybe they are in India. I don't know. I don't know these actors, so I don't know how popular they are. But you're going to Fighter, at least for someone like me, because of the action, the fighter jet action. And I'm going to say Fighter does not disappoint on that front. We get some really good action in this movie that is, dare I say it, comparable to Hollywood. I think this movie would rival Top Gun as just as good a movie, in my opinion. And one of the key elements in this movie that I really enjoyed was, and something that we would not see in certain Hollywood movies, is that it's not the cocky fighter jet pilot, male pilot, that is like chasing down the women or the ladies. He is a ladies' man. We definitely know that for a fact. But it is his co-star that is really the one pursuing our cocky fighter jet pilot. And it is great to see that they give him kind of a reason why he doesn't, accept her advances, and it kind of gives you a different layer of a main character that is not just solely there to look hot, to fly fighter jets, and to bed all the women. It's because that he lost his previous, relationship, his previous girlfriend, fiance, to a tragic event, and he's never given up blaming himself for her loss and really for loving her. So it does take him some time and effort for him to realize that it is okay for him to actually open his heart to another woman. And speaking more on story, overall, this is a story that we've seen in almost every movie. It is not groundbreaking. It is not a movie you're going for like Shakespeare or an Oscar-worthy movie and stuff like that. But I do think it still has enough new storylines or layers that it does make it a good story. It shows us, especially for us that don't know too much about India and what they're going through right now, but it does show us the brutality of living next to a country that is housing terrorists that invade your land and kill your people indiscriminately and think they can get away with it, when they also have a part of their territory that is occupied by the other country, and living day to day, having to deal with all that. It is definitely eye-opening to me, and seeing that kind of relationship going on. And this movie also dives into females in the military. Now, even in the United States, we still have issues with people thinking whether or not females have the right to go into combat, be in the military, XYZ. But I guess it's some people in India still feel that women don't belong in the military, and even kind of go as far as disowning them, or even saying that they no longer exist or are part of their family. And so these are two very good storylines, in my opinion, that open our eyes to kind of the Indian people and seeing what they go through in their day-to-day lives. And I know I should have expected it because I even call it back, but I've seen clips of Bollywood movies, but it still kind of shocks you when you actually see the dancing and singing break out in this movie. And now during the movie itself, there are like two main scenes where this happens. And at the end of the movie, there is a third dance and singing scene. And to me, yes, I get it that if they cut these types of scenes out, that it would shorten the runtime for this movie. But it really works, especially that second dance scene, I really thought was really well done. After doing their first like real life mission together, they want to celebrate. So what better way? You could always have a bar scene and just have drinking and playing games and talking and stuff like that. But I thought it really fit that they were drinking and they were busted out into dancing and singing. It was really well done, and I really enjoyed watching it. And I think the first one we see is really between the two co-stars, and it gives us a kind of like, oh yeah, these guys are vibing with each other and kind of setting that kind of mood and what to expect with these two. So I really did enjoy that, the dancing, the hot Bollywood dancing and singing. I thought it was really interesting and added some stuff to the movie. And talking about the music and the dancing, I gotta say, at least most of the movie, the music in this movie is fire. I've never been a big Indian fan. I've never really listened too much to Indian music. But man, I went and immediately added this soundtrack to my Spotify playlist. I was listening to it when I got in the car, when I left the movie theater. I even listened to it today after work on my way home. I think, has a lot of hits. It is fire, and it is good to listen to. And let me tell you, that theme song could rival Top Gun's theme song. I swear to God, man, like every time that theme song came on, I knew it was the theme song. And it can rival Top Gun's theme song. At least as soon as you hear for Top Gun, when you hear that boom, when the Indian theme song or the fighter theme song comes on, you'll definitely know. And I hate that I keep doing this, and I'm sorry I do this, but Top Gun is probably the only movie we have to really compare this movie to, at least on the level that I think this movie is. And Top Gun, especially in the 80s, I don't know about the 2023 movie, but in the 80s, the Top Gun movie was pretty much the number one Navy recruiting video of all time. It probably still is. It got a lot of people to join up the Navy because of how like patriotic and how it just got your emotions running and stuff like that. Fighter, hands down, 100% more patriotic than Top Gun ever could be. They waved the Indian flag throughout this movie. There is a slogan, a theme that they say throughout this movie that really explains kind of to the core of who they are and what they're fighting for and standing up against. And throughout this movie, it is definitely 100% more patriotic. It definitely hits you over the head hard about how patriotic this movie is. And one of the things I was worried about going into a Bollywood movie was the CGI, especially in a CGI level as the fighter has to be, because the fighter is, again, a fighter jet movie. You have to make it look like you are in a fighter jet and you are fighting the enemy in your fighter jet. And so I was worried because, again, this is my first Bollywood. I've seen a few foreign films, especially in the Japanese variety, the Korean variety, and some of, our, European brethren. And sometimes some of those movies do leave a lack of taste or they just have a lack of something, like the CGI just didn't really bring it. And even some Hollywood movies, you can definitely tell that the CGI is lacking. And so going into a movie like The Fighter, I was very surprised. I was like, they are holding their own toe to toe with Hollywood. And I thought, this is phenomenal. They are doing a bang up job on this. Yes, there are certain scenes where you can go, yeah, that's CGI. That is definitely CGI. But for the most part, you are immersed in this movie and the CGI holds up. And then I went into this movie knowing that it was going to be Hindi, or they were going to be speaking Hindi, and I was going to read the subtitles. Perfectly fine with me. I went in there expecting that. What surprised me, and I guess this shouldn't surprise me, and I was talking to one of my coworkers today about it too, was the amount of English still being used throughout this movie. And, me and him were talking, and I'm of two minds of it. One, because we know that India does have a history with the United Kingdom or Britain. So we know that the British had a heavy influence, especially on modern day India. But also the military. The military, and even in my background, whenever we did joint exercises, they were in English. English was the default language to be used. So it just made sense, I guess, that having these Indian Air Force pilots throwing in that English words and even sentences throughout the movie kind of made sense, because especially with calling back to the military portion of it, they would probably be using a lot of English vice their own Indian or own Hindi. But don't get me wrong, 90% of this movie is probably still Hindi with the smattering of English thrown in there. One thing that got me with this movie though too, okay, I already told you the runtime is 2 hours and 46 minutes. But this movie, and I guess supposedly what my friend tells me, he works at the theater I go to, is that all Bollywoods have an intermission. I did not know that. So about an hour and 20 minutes into this thing, there was an intermission came up. Even in Bollywood, or in the movie, it said intermission. And then the theater put up their intermission sign as well. And it gives you about 10 minutes to go grab snacks, go to the bathroom, stretch your legs, do whatever you want to do. I was surprised. I enjoyed it. I didn't mind it at all. Gave me a little break so that way I could go to the bathroom. I didn't top up on any drinks or snacks, but it was good because, like, again, Hollywood is going to this thing where a lot of the blockbusters are over 2 hours long, over 2.5 hour long. We had some movies last year alone hitting the 3 hour mark, if not going over 3 hour mark. And so an intermission would help. Give me a 10-minute little break, bro. If the movie's already 3 hours long, I don't mind being there for 3 hours and 10 minutes. So it was nice to see an intermission. Now let's get into some things I didn't like about this movie. As you know, I already spoke about it, that going into this movie, we knew it was going to be spoken in Hindi for the majority of this movie. Like, I wasn't even expecting English to be anywhere in this movie. So I didn't mind that. And I knew going in that I was going to have to read subtitles. And nothing against the Indians, but man, there are certain parts in there where you guys just speak really fast. And instead of the subtitles just being really long, they were rapid firing some of those subtitles. So that way I was just having trouble keeping up on some of the scenes. Not that it really hurt anything, because I still was able to grasp what was being said and what the scene was about. But yeah, maybe lengthen the subtitles, you have a big screen down there at the bottom, you know, right here. So yeah, that was probably one of my drawbacks, or one of my dislikes, was that I'm already going in there expecting to read. Give me the time to read. I'm used to it. I watch anime. I've watched subbed a lot. I do dub sometimes as well. But I'm not one of those people that go into a movie with subtitles already dreading it. And I kind of brought the last point of what I didn't like up earlier, and that is the story. Again, I do believe that it does offer us some different layers, but again, the story is something that is hard to, like, we've seen it before. So yes, it gives us a couple good story points, but it is also, again, a generic military fighter jet, you know, type of action movie. Not to say it's wrong, but it is a rinse, wash, and repeat kind of story. Overall, guys, The Fighter is an excellent movie. I would go back and watch it again, especially if friends wanted to go and watch this movie but didn't want to go watch it alone. I believe that if this was an American movie with an American cast and budget, they would definitely be a blockbuster American movie. I hate the fact that because it is a foreign movie with subtitles and it's almost 3 hours long, that Americans aren't going to give this movie the view that it deserves. I hyped it up at work today. I was like, you guys need to go see this movie. I was like, go watch it. It is great. It is good. If you're a Top Gun fan, this movie is good. Go watch it. What are you doing sitting here? Let Hollywood know, let America know, let the world know that just because it is a foreign language film, just because it has subtitles, that it doesn't mean it has to be regulated to obscurity in America. We do that way too much. We rely on Hollywood, and then we bitch about Hollywood producing the same old stuff over and over again. But now we have other countries producing movies on a level that is equal to what Hollywood is putting out today and giving us a different take. Let us see the different cultures and see their take on a Top Gun or a jet fighter action movie. Give them that chance, because as of right now, I am going to try to at least check out a couple other foreign films this year, because I want to be in the know. I want to be able to say, like, damn, that movie was really good. And I don't think we do that enough. I think this movie offers us different takes on something character-wise. I don't think Tom Cruise would have played the lead role in this movie the way it is written. This lead actor has so many layers, is very emotional, and takes on consequences that I just don't think Tom Cruise would let himself do. Dare I say it, would not let his ego would not let him do. And that's what we get with these Hollywood movies. Is sometimes our actors, our A-list actors, won't take on a role or won't let something happen to them because they think it's beneath them and stuff like that. I think this movie offers us a lot of good takes. I'm not going to say it is a great movie or the best movie out there, but it does give us a different viewpoint on these type of action movies that we see from Hollywood. But guys, if it is take a look at your theaters. If they're showing some Bollywood movies, if they're showing Fighter, go watch Fighter. With that being said, Shep Talk gives Fighter 4 Sheps out of 5. Go watch it. If you've seen it, let me know in the comments down below. What did you think? Am I just drinking the Bollywood Kool-Aid, and because this is like my first big Bollywood movie, that I am blinded to some of the flaws? Again, like I said, due to cultural differences and stuff like that, I might not be aware of like the actors, the actresses, or some of the other stuff going on behind the scenes, but I really enjoyed this movie, in my opinion, and I guess that's all that you got to take from this. But guys, if you haven't done so already, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. It does help my channel out greatly, and I do truly appreciate it. But that is all I have time for today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next review.